So today we are headed to the Museum of Ancient Life, or as I called it as a kid, the Dinosaur Museum. I'm very much looking forward to going back to a museum that I already loved as a kid and getting to experience it as an adult. Gorgosaurus, more like Gorgosaurus. They've had this thing here as long as I can remember. It's good to see it's still on display. Wheels of time keep on turning. The archaeologists have been here as long as I can remember too. He's just vibing. Look at him. He's so in love with that fossil. They have a real fossil lab over here. How can you tell if you've found a fossil? If it doesn't look like a fossil, it probably isn't one. That's fair. If it does look like a fossil, it probably isn't one either. Well, that's hopeful. You want to have a sleepover with the dinosaurs?
Yeah, definitely. Nice museum style.
But they're all dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Good luck. We are headed into, quite possibly, one of my favorite places in this whole museum. It's this tunnel full of stars. I want to walk through hallways like this all the time, and I think every hallway should be full of stars. Band name, I call it. Prehistoric bugs. They were a lot bigger back then. So this room here has images from the Cambrian period, when tons of animals started showing up in the fossil record. It's probably because around that time oxygen levels increased on Earth, which meant that suddenly all these life forms could just flourish. Anomalocaris, my babe. Everyone else is just like crawling along the ocean floor, and Anomalocaris is here just slaying. Actually, in Utah, during the Cambrian period, a lot of the land was covered by shallow seas, so there were a lot of these animals that lived in the shallow water in things like tide pools. And speaking of tide pools, this would have been from around 380 million years ago. We're skipping past a few archaeological periods here between the Cambrian, the Ordovician, and the Silurian period. But this is what one of the tide pools during the Devonian might have looked like. Also a period when fish really flourished and also started crawling onto land. Now we are skipping forward even more. We are now in the Jurassic period. This is what you came for. This is the dawn of the dinosaurs. This pterodactyl is having like a really good day. Look into those eyes. Would you want to hang out with that pterodactyl?
Yeah. That's like my best friend right
there. He looks like he knows how to party.
Yeah, no. He sounds something. That's for sure.
What you doing?
You'll see me speedrun this?
Yes.
I know it's a bear. I know there's a bear. There's a bear in here.
Where's the bear?
I don't know. There's a bear. Speedrunning.
Dino bear?
No, it's like an actual just straight up grizzly bear. If I get one wrong, then I lose.
There it is. Bear!
So good. World record. World
Great.
record.
What is a dinosaur? You is a dinosaur. The Supersaurus. This thing is huge. This is just the pelvis of the Supersaurus.
There's some child bear and hips right there.
Those hips do not lie. Shakira. Torvosaurus. Savage lizard.
Honestly, it could be bigger. Like that thing, savage lizard.
You think they should rename the dinosaurs?
Yes.
The bigger they are, the more savage?
Yes. Really, what I look for in a man, a pretty jaw.
The coolest part of the Dinosaur Museum, well, one of them, the erosion tables. Do you feel powerful?
Yes. This is how I play God.
So this is how a fossil is made. Well, one of the ways. If this dinosaur, this one. If this dinosaur died right here, and then the water came flowing over it and covered it in sand, preserves the body. I can't actually make a fossil because it's plastic, but... And Kay looked at their creation and saw that it was wicked. Here comes the flood. Do 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 do. That's really what dinosaurs. That's what they became. This is plastic. This is a fake dinosaur made of real dinosaurs. Dino back ride. Our majestic creation. Or not. That's how erosion happens, though. Look at it push the sand away. These little bugs trapped in amber.
I want it in my mouth. I want to put it in my mouth and chew it.
Imagine being conscious and just being trapped
Can't
in
relate.
the amber for all these millions of years.
Can't relate to being conscious.
Amber is actually fossilized tree resin. And the interesting thing about amber fossils is they can actually be faked. You can melt a hole in the amber and stick an insect in there and then patch it up. You basically have to get an expert to know the difference. So if we ever need to like forge some amber fossils, I blame this museum for teaching me. Psittacosaurus skull is the cutest thing. Look at that. Little beak. Little beak. Pachycephalosaurus, thick-headed lizard. It's big brain time. I hope to someday be a fossil preserved in an action pose in sparkly sand. Rest in peace, Bambi Raptor.
Don't need any pepper on that egg because it's got enough salt.
Saltosaurus. It's like a perfect sphere.
You're a perfect sphere.
That's true. Kind of salty about that pun, honestly. This one isn't even a dinosaur, it's just a prehistoric pine cone. But you're allowed to touch it.
Okay, but here's the thing. No. This is the Museum of Ancient Life. Plant life. It's like, you can't complain about it because they're supposed to have all life.
Yeah, well, I'm not seeing any microscopic life, so it's the big man himself. Is it too late to make a duck face joke about this?
Yes.
Turble.
Is that my boy Crush? My friend Nemo?
Xiphactinus adax.
Yo, why his eyes look like that?
I think those are just the eye sockets. The eyes already decomposed millions of years ago. Soft tissue doesn't stick around.
Why do his eyes look like that?
Ask God. This is also Xiphactinus adax, but with the remains of its last prey still inside. So, by now, all the dinosaurs have unfortunately died. Welcome to the Tertiary period. So this was known as the Age of Mammals because when the dinosaurs died, the mammals were kind of small and rodent-like, and they managed to survive the big extinction event. The mammals were small and didn't need as much food. So when the plants and animals all started dying, the mammals still had the insects, so we survived. And welcome to the Quaternary period, the Age of Man. Would you ride on the back of this thing?
I don't think it goes very fast. It's a sloth. It does have a weird pelvis.
Its pelvis looks like a second skull.
Yeah.
Eyes on the back of your head, or just your back end in general, I guess. Pinocthus. I'm pretty sure I saw one of these in Ice Age. This is us. I want my body donated to this museum when I die to be in this exhibit. Mammuthus primigenius. Some people believe that the legend of Cyclopes, came from elephant skulls. That hole right there looked like a place for one giant eye. This one was a baby, about a year old, less than a year old. And this is probably the greatest of my memories of this museum is the quarry. You get to unearth these dinosaur fossils in the sand. See what it's like to be a real archaeologist. And that's about it. This place is just as cool as I remember. It's hardly changed at all, which is actually really cool. A lot of places have changed that we used to visit when we were kids, but this place is pretty much the same. And it was one of my favorites. I think it still is. Until next time, Ruth.